What is going on, everybody? Randall Thor 19 here, one of the co-hosts for the Xbox 2 podcast. With me, as always, the one and only Jez Corden, fresh from his vacation where he caught a gnarly tan. What's going on, buddy?
Gnarly tan.
Gnarly, bro.
I think somehow I got whiter while I was out there.
And how do you go to Florida? How do you go to Florida and become even paler than you already are?
Well, dude, it was foggy the whole time we were there. It was like thick mist the whole time we were there. So it didn't matter because we didn't really get much opportunity to go out much.
Yeah.
It
So
was awesome though. I ate alligator meat.
wait, alligator. Okay, tell me how that is. Now, I've heard people say alligator is all right. It's actually kind of delicious. I've never actually eaten alligator myself.
It was
it
really
good?
nice, man. Yeah, man. It was. I would eat alligator again.
Mm.
It's kind of like it had the texture of almost like rare beef, but had like almost like a lamb goatee sort of quality.
Mm.
It's hard to it just tastes like chicken, man.
Awesome. So the reason we haven't had a podcast last week, or even most, it seems like every other week recently, it's because obviously schedules aren't aligning up right. And Jez was on vacation this past week in Florida.
Yeah, vacation.
So he's like, I ain't doing no Xbox 2 podcast. He's chilling in Florida playing World of Warcraft instead of out on the beach soaking up the sun. I'm so jealous.
Video, right?
I'm so jealous. Considering last week, it was a polar vortex here in Chicago where, that was last week, right? Or was it the week before? Either way, I think was it last week? I must be losing my mind because I can't remember if I was in the negative 30-degree weather last week or if it was the week before.
I've never experienced below. Is that 30 F or C?
That's F, Fahrenheit. We don't do Celsius here.
That's like minus 34 Celsius. I've never experienced more than. I've never experienced more than -4 Fahrenheit.
Well, it was pretty damn cold here. I ain't gonna lie. It was cold for 2 days, and then it's cold right now. It's like 10 degrees outside, but
Did you wear a onesie?
No, dude. It was cold.
You own a onesie?
Do I have a onesie? No, but it's not like Seattle, where a lot of my Xbox friends are paralyzed because it's about to snow 4 inches, and they basically shut down the entire area. Like, oh, can't go to work, can't go to school, can't go anywhere else. There's 4 inches of snow on the ground. Whoop-de-doo. We call that a Tuesday here in Chicago. And like they shut down the entire state for 4 inches. Are you serious?
I'm gonna troll Robbie about that.
Yeah,
right now.
4 inches. Oh, can't do anything. My buddy was telling me that like all the grocery marts and like the shopping centers are like empty with food because people think it's like the apocalypse and they're all stocking up on stuff. Because it's like, come on, man, come on.
It's like that in England, man. There's like 2 or 3 inches of snow and people just go crazy, and everything shuts down. The media goes crazy, calls it a snow apocalypse. They give names to these like storms. Like Britain can't handle a bit of snow. No, it usually just rains. But a bit of snow, everything goes to hell.
So as everybody jumbles into the room, make sure to hit that like button and do us a little favor here. You see, YouTube has changed their policies once again. It used to be when you liked the video, it would automatically share it out on social media like Twitter or Facebook, mostly Twitter. But now YouTube doesn't automatically do that. So hitting the like button is not enough anymore. You actually have to go to that little share button underneath, click Twitter or click wherever and actually share it out. So if you want to take the extra 2 seconds to do that, we would appreciate it.
Likes don't matter anymore?
No, they matter. They matter for the algorithm and how hard YouTube pushes your video, but more for visibility of other people checking your thing out. They got rid of that, man. Like, used to be like you post a video, it would automatically post to YouTube or automatically post to Twitter or even Facebook if you wanted it to. And if you liked the video and you had that stuff public, it would automatically tweet it out, right? So like it'd be like Jez Corden liked the video about why the Earth is flat, right? You know, um, now YouTube doesn't do that anymore. So it's like you can hit the like button and that still helps, but if you really do, want to share it out, you actually have to go to the share button and share it out. I don't know why YouTube does this. It is what it is, though. They're just changing stuff left and right. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, but that's what it is. So, yeah, hit the like button, share it out if you want to, hit the sub button if you're new. We do have a bunch of stuff to talk about. Apex Legends, Xbox Game Studios, what that really means. Jess says it means something. It's not just a simple name change, guys. Jess says it actually means something. Xbox Live on Switch, and why I think
And phones.
And phones. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Xbox Live on Switch and like phones, it's been there already. I don't understand why this is suddenly like the biggest news in the world, right?
Because
Uh-oh.
I mean, we'll talk about it more.
Well,
but
tease it, Jez, tease it, so people stay and listen.
It's a big deal because it's the first time they let third parties use it. So up until now, only Microsoft has been able to use Xbox Live on those platforms. But now they've made an SDK, so developers can do it too.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm starting to think there might be Xbox games going to Switch that you'll be able to play soon? Question mark? Is that a nice little tease?
Yeah.
We'll talk about all that and whatever else you guys want to hear. If you have any suggestions or comments on topics, make sure to put them in chat. Super chat's open if you want your stuff heard right away. So thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. I know it was like last notice. We weren't sure if we were actually going to be able to do it today, but Jez is ready to go. He missed podcasting last week. So Jez, tell me about your vacation and what you've been playing recently. I want to hear all about it because we talked the other day, but you didn't mention if you actually enjoyed your time in Florida.
I did. I love my time in Florida. I was like really nervous about going. I mean, for full context, it was like a company-wide conference between Windows Central, Android Central, iMore.com, and some of our other teams, just all getting together because we all work from home, right? We all work remotely and never see each other. So we had a really good year last year, and the higher ups thought they'd reward us with a trip to Florida and a whole bunch of meetings, content planning for the week. It's kind of weird because while other digital media publishers are laying people off, we seem to be growing, which is pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. But that was what it was about, man. It was work stuff. But it was lovely in Florida. I mean, except for the mist. The beach was beautiful. Floridian people are lovely people and all that stuff. But and I got some time to play games while I was there. Namely, World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. Yeah, we don't need to talk about World of Warcraft anymore.
Heroes of the Storm. I played a bit of that.
Nobody cares about Heroes of the Storm. Not even Blizzard and Activision care about that game.
Well, yeah, you're right. I was gonna take my Switch, but then I decided why when I'm taking my laptop, which has games on it too. So I didn't take my Switch in the end. And some of our colleagues took their Nintendo Switches, and we played some Mario Kart. First time we played Mario Kart, and played some Super Smash Bros. So it's all good, man. That's had a bit of gaming time, but I've also been playing a couple of games that I can't talk about for review purposes. I suppose I can say what I'm playing. I'm playing Metro Exodus, and I'm playing Crackdown 3.
You lucky son of a bitch! You lucky mother effort. You got Metro. That's the one game I want so bad, and you have it.
Buy it.
I mean, I am gonna buy it. I'm just saying.
Are you gonna buy it on the Epic Store?
No, because I don't play anything on the PC. I'm perfectly fine buying it on the X. So, Metro Exodus, huh?
I can't talk about it.
Well, I figured you can't talk about it.
Yeah. But one game I can talk about. I played a lot of Division 2's private beta.
Oh,
have you tried that yet?
Yeah. I have not tried the Division 2 private beta. I'm also neck deep in 2 reviews. I am currently playing Crackdown 3 for a review, which I can't talk about. And I also am playing Far Cry New Dawn for a review, which I cannot talk about.
Fun.
So yeah, so I can't talk about those two games either. But tell me about Division 2.
Okay, so like Division 2, I played it. I played Division 2 last year at Gamescom in a sort of early-ish build. And at Gamescom, I kind of felt like it felt very similar to Division 1. But like playing the beta now, it feels like they've tweaked the movement. Like it feels like a lot easier to just move than in the first game. Like the first game felt almost like Gears of War level heavy. You know, like you can't like fully turn around with one stick, you know, until it starts moving your camera around. But like it's just so much easier to just dash in one direction in Division 2, which is like a pretty subtle change, but it makes it just feel a bit nicer. The gunplay is nicer too. Like enemies aren't bullet sponges anymore, and like there's a big emphasis on visuals. So if an enemy is a bullet sponge, that's because he's covered in armor, and you have to shoot the armor off him to like actually hit his vitals. Which and when once you do get rid of his armor, then he goes down pretty quick, like any other human enemy. And another thing regarding visuals is that like all your equipment, like including like your bombs or your turrets or your shield or whatever abilities you choose, they always appear on your character as well. So you always know, look at a glance when you look over to like your squad mates, what their abilities are because they're physically equipped on them. And the same goes for enemies too. Like you can see what equipment they're carrying, and I thought that was a pretty nice detail. Also, I haven't played it that much, but like we did like the first sort of story mission sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The story missions feel more like full blown dungeons now. Like, well, I suppose they were as well in the original, but like even like the side quests that are characterized as side quests. You remember like in Division 1 how your side quests were uh, sort of like just out there in the world, and you just sort of cut your way through an area and kill the boss. That was just part of the regular game world. They felt kind of like an afterthought almost by the dev team.
Right.
But now the side quests feel like fully fleshed out, actual side quests with interesting story and stuff like that.
Mm.
So
I did watch the beginning mission. It did look a lot better than Division 1.
yeah,
It seemed to play better. Is it right that there's really no loading screens in the game? Like everything's just
come to, yeah, actually, come to think of
which
it,
is amazing considering Anthem has loading screens for its loading screens, right?
yeah, it does.
I mean,
Oh, Anthem's loading screens are awful.
it's like look, I guess I don't know. I played Anthem as well, for the beta. I wasn't that impressed at all for Anthem. Uh, but Division 2 just looks like okay, like they took what worked in the first game and they improved on it, and they like got rid of the stuff that didn't. So I think Division 2 is actually going to be a really, really quality game. And then Anthem though, I'm not. I love BioWare, but nothing I played of that beta or whatever you want to call it. Uh, when I was playing it, like I didn't get the impression I was playing a BioWare game. It just felt like I was playing, your next looter shooter. You know, like the story seemed. They put you in like the middle of whatever, and it's just like I didn't care about the story like I normally would. I mean,
Well, this is one of I spoke to my one of my colleagues about this, and I said like I didn't know what was going on. It just the plot just sort of felt like it was sort of like almost intentionally confusing, so you didn't look into it that much. And my friend was saying that like because I say my friend, my colleague Matt Brown, who he's played Anthem from the start at a preview event, right? And he
mhm.
said like it makes a lot more sense when you actually do the intro properly, and they actually go through the world context in more detail. So
Okay, then
like
maybe that's what I needed then.
yeah, he told me not to judge it on that basis because the full game will have a more robust introduction than what was offered in the demo. I think they shouldn't have called it a demo. It's literally called an Anthem demo on the game list. They should have called it an alpha or a beta or something because it doesn't play like a demo. It plays
Yeah.
like a beta test, and like the servers had queues like a beta test or a stress test. It doesn't play like a demo at all. I think like by calling it a demo, they created like these weird expectations. like for example, Division 2's private beta, it has some bugs. Like there seems to be a bug where you can get stuck on doors, like doors don't properly open. But that, I mean, it's a beta, so I'm okay with that, and I'll report that bug, and hopefully it'll get fixed. But it's so much more polished than Anthem was. Like buttery smooth, 4K, you know, no frame rate issues, gorgeous visuals, you know, no problems whatsoever, except for that door bug that I found.
Yeah. Plus, Anthem was supposed to come out last year, and I remember it got delayed to 2019. I'm hoping it's good. Like, I don't want any game to fail, so I got my fingers crossed. Hopefully, it's really good. I know it's not going to be that game I play for 200 hours. I know, with the fact that it's got no multiplayer, I'm not really the type of person that constantly replay missions over and over again so I can get better loot. Like, that doesn't appeal to me. But I am hoping for a solid 30 to 40 hour experience where I can enjoy the story and have fun playing with my friends in co-op because the game looks good. It controls well. Like the flying mechanics are amazing in the game. Like I had
Oh
fun
yeah,
just jumping
like
off and flying. Like someone needs to take those mechanics and make an Iron Man game or something.
everyone keeps saying that.
Um,
It's like, how about instead of that, a Boba Fett game?
a
You
Boba
know,
Fett game. There you go. Well, EA probably canceled that already though. So, yeah, but I'm looking forward. Same thing with Division 2. I'm looking forward to a solid 30 to 40 hours single player co-op experience, and then that's it. Like I have really no interest in end game content
See,
for any of this stuff.
I really want a game with good end game content that I can really get my teeth stuck into. That's why I'm playing a lot of World of Warcraft right now, because the end game is. I mean, a lot of people complain about the end game, like World of Warcraft fans, but honestly, the end game, World of Warcraft is the best end game out there. You know, for me, like
Well, I mean, you do
there's
pay
so
$15 a month for it.
well,
I mean, you
yeah,
should
I
have some
suppose.
good stuff for it.
I suppose that's the kicker, right? Like you get what you pay for. You know, there's so much stuff to do. They patch things in every what like another game would consider an expansion. World of Warcraft gets that like as free updates. You know, like free updates, quote unquote. You pay £15 a month. You know, it makes me wonder why other games haven't ever been successful in that model. You know,
Hmm.
it is what it is. But I really want a good quality end game, because Fallout 76, like as much as I was enjoying like
You
the
love that
explore,
game. You
well,
love that game.
I was enjoying the exploration and the narrative, like you know, uncovering all the story that they wove into the game world. I really enjoyed that. But then you get to the end game of Fallout 76, and it is the worst, most unbalanced mess that I've ever seen in a game. Like
Mm.
it's so clear that Bethesda just doesn't have a clue how an online game should work. Like they don't, like their live ops team and the engine isn't built for it. And it's like, if people think that Fallout 76 is a mess at low level, the end game is a whole other level of mess.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm hoping that Anthem has a good end
Justin
game.
Russell agrees with you about World of Warcraft's endgame. He says World of Warcraft's endgame is awesome, and plus a new raid, smiley face.
Yeah,
Thanks for the super chat.
new raid is just awesome. It's
Yeah.
huge, and like there's 3 difficulty tiers which keep your guild busy for weeks, you know. And the loot's great, and it looks good, and it's got a story too. You know, you honestly get what you pay for with World of Warcraft.
Yeah. I'm
It's
I
just the games
I'm
can't do that.
I'm so looking forward to Metro next week though. You have no idea. I love the
Yeah,
Metro games. I'm
you
looking forward to playing
Rand,
Anthem.
trust me,
What?
you really do have no idea.
Oh, I do. What does that mean? It's gonna be bad?
No,
Oh, okay. Oh man, but there's also been another. I mean, we both finished Resident Evil. We talked about it on the last podcast. I love the game. I gave it a 9 in my review. It's probably the best remake of a game ever, and I
yeah,
hope they do Resident Evil 3 that
hell
way.
yeah.
God, that game is so good, and it's infinitely replayable too. You can play it on harder difficulties. You can speed run it. There's so many different ways you can experience Resident Evil
I
2. It's
I'm intrigued by like how fast speedrunners will get down to it, because
yeah,
you can, like, if you if you know like how the zombies move, you can just basically skip all the zombies and not kill any of them. And like speedrunners, like they'll get so good at it, like knowing which zombies pop up and which don't, and knowing exactly where to go and stuff like that. It'll be like really interesting to see how fast people can end up completing it. I reckon you could probably do it in like an hour or something.
Yeah, I've seen people who have been in an hour, but then there's speed runs on hardcore and all that stuff.
Alright.
So
They're gonna add more difficulty modes to it as well, and also
yeah.
there's like this whole raid mode coming later, I think.
Well, there's also like the free DLC and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So the other game I've been playing, which is actually a topic because this delves more into like I think it have an impact on future games and the industry in general. General is Apex Legends. Now, what a success story this game has been in 4 days, right? It's okay. So I'll set up the backstory here. Okay, so it's Apex Legends is a battle royale game from Respawn, the makers of Titanfall 1 and 2, right? And it literally launched out of nowhere. No hype, no press, no nothing. The only thing people heard about it was on a Friday, the Quartering, which is a big YouTube channel, broke the story because I guess either someone in the press or someone from one of the streamers, because people like Shroud and Doctor Disrespect and those guys were playing. Someone leaked it to him. He said that there's this new game coming. It's going to be coming on Monday, right? And then people are going back and forth. Is it true? Is it not true? Is it just PC only? Is it Xbox, PS4? What's it going to be? And then Monday, the stream went live, and it was like a short 20-minute stream. And they're like, it's available right now. It's free to play. It's on every platform, right? Boom, boom, boom. Xbox, PlayStation 4, PC, right away, no issues. And boom, 3 days later, it's over 10 million players, over 1 million concurrent. And it's one of the best games I played in the last couple of years. It's like the best battle royale game I've played. It's
Seriously?
so much better. Yeah, dude. It's like they were sitting in the like Respawn and like Vince Zampella and the people who were Infinity Ward before Respawn. They've never made a bad game in my opinion. The early Medal of Honors, the early Call of Duties, Modern Warfare 1 and 2, right? Then going to Respawn, making Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2. They know first-person shooters. So it has the pedigree of the gunplay, right? It's just only really missing the Titans and the parkour stuff, like the wall running, right? So it's like they were sitting back and they're seeing what other games are missing, like what's missing from PUBG, what's missing from Blackout, what do people not like about this, or what do they don't like about that, and they incorporate that in the game. They fix that stuff, and it's I don't know, like for the fact that this game had no hype whatsoever and it just launches and people are just loving it is kind of crazy because it just bucks the whole trend of announcing a game at E3 that's coming out a year from now and doing the whole hype cycle, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? For this game, I think it was the best course of action because
It is. I definitely agree that it's like not for every game, maybe, but for this game, for an EA game, I think this was actually a genius stroke of marketing.
Because, like, if you think about it, if this game had been announced at E3, right, you would have had the YouTube think pieces and everybody saying, "Oh, they're wasting Respawn's talent. Why aren't they doing Titanfall 3?" It would have been just a chorus of people upset about EA and about Respawn doing this stuff. But before anybody could say a word, the game was available for people to play. And as soon as they played it, they're like, "Holy shit, this game's good." So you get rid of all the naysayers, and now people love it, and it's free to play, and they have 10 million players. And I'm sorry, but there's something to be said about free to play games, right? I honestly think off the success of Fortnite and off the success of this game, I wouldn't be surprised with next generation coming that most of the multiplayer games that come out for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, PC are all going to be free to play.
Yeah,
and the only
honestly, I've been wondering why it hasn't happened sooner, because like I always think back to I was thinking about this because of Halo 5, right? Because it was like, even though everyone hated Halo 5's campaign, or it certainly felt like that to me, Halo 5's multiplayer is still going strong today, right? But it's like how do you move those players off Halo 5 and bring them over to Halo 6, or Halo Infinite rather? And I think like the Master Chief Collection solved this in a way by like combining them all together into a single package, but it's almost like it comes to a point where you wonder like, why isn't there like a separate Halo multiplayer game as a service, which has like all the different playlists? Like Halo, you can play like Halo Combat Evolved playlist, Halo 2 playlist, Halo 3 playlist, blah 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 blah, and it's all like in a single free to play package, with like all the customization from Halo Reach, maybe as like the cosmetic microtransaction layer or whatever, and they just constantly feed in new content to the game. Like, and then you sell like Halo Infinite's campaign separately, and then the next Halo game's campaign separately, while keeping the multiplayer separate and updated for free.
You see, I thought about that, but then that kind of gets away from the whole business model of Xbox Game Pass. Like, what good of use is Halo in Game Pass if it's free to play? And what good is free to play when on Xbox you need Xbox Live Gold to actually access it anyways? Unless like eventually, what in this scenario you're talking about, they get rid of gold, so anybody can play this Halo free to play game, and only the single players in Game Pass. Because I mean, was that going to be driving Game Pass in the future? Is content that is expensive? Like Crackdown 3 comes out next week. It's $60, but you can sign up for Game Pass and play it for 10. You know, if Halo's free to play, well, there's no incentive for it being in Game Pass. You know what I mean?
True. I mean, maybe Halo is a bad example, but I think this is how Battlefield 5 was supposed to work, right? So, well, I mean, in a sense, like they were gonna have like episodic content for the story while having the campaign, the multiplayer sort of separate. But they did it kind of like the wrong way. Like they should have probably sold the Battlefield 5's multiplayer. Probably should have been the free to play bit.
Probably. I mean, they screwed up on Battlefield 5, but like, I'm just shocked that a game this good, and I understand there's people out there that don't like Battle Royale. Like, I get it. Not everything's going to be for everybody. And honestly, before this whole Battle Royale thing started, I didn't think it was going to be for me. And it wasn't until I played PUBG. Like, I don't like Fortnite whatsoever. I dislike that game. I don't think it's very good. PUBG gives me that slow tactical experience that I can have with my friends. And I thought Blackout was bad. Like, I honestly thought when I played Call of Duty's Blackout, I'm like, this is bad. Like, this is not good whatsoever. And then here comes this game, and it's like, oh my God, it's like that sits in between PUBG and Blackout, but it has all these like, it takes these ideas from Overwatch. You have the characters with the unique abilities, right? You got the team play, you have the small map, you have the movement and the gunplay of Titanfall, and you have like the things that they added. Like, it's much quicker to loot in this game. It's you know exactly what you need because the game won't let you pick up like lower tier loot than what you have, and things go right onto your gun, and it's really quick to loot. It's really fast paced and stuff like that.
It makes you wonder why, like, I mean, speaking of the Overwatch influences, it makes you wonder why Blizzard hasn't capitalized on that.
And
it's almost embarrassing because like Overwatch is pretty much perfect for a battle royale type scenario, you know. But,
yes, I mean, like I've put in like 26 hours already on it. And the cosmetic, like the microtransactions, I feel no incentive to actually buy anything because it's all just cosmetic nonsense anyways. So it's like, whatever, I don't care about cosmetics. So it's like, yeah, it has loot boxes, which are, kind of, I think people say like disgusting at this point in time, but it's cosmetic stuff. There's no pay to win things here. So like, I'm perfectly happy with what it is. Now, I think the game needs to get updated constantly for it to, retain its player base and all that stuff. But it's just amazing how this game just came out of nowhere and it's taken everything by storm. And judging how like poorly Battlefield sold, like I'm looking at it like in the future where the multiplayer games are just going to be free because that's how they want it to be. It's just like they want as many people playing these games as possible right away. That $60 price point is a barrier to entry. And I think like games like Fortnite and this one will show people that this is the way to go. If you want a large player base, free's the way to go. and story single player stuff will be what you pay for next gen. Maybe it won't be every multiplayer game. I mean, thinking about it, Jazz, do you think Call of Duty multiplayer will ever be free to play, or will they always package that together at $60? Because if they do it, then everybody's going to do it, right? But
Well, the
would
thing is,
Activision
like,
give up all that money though?
well,
That's the
thing.
one
It's
thing
like
I was.
Activision doesn't need to do it. I mean, like, if this was like Apex Legends was a $60 game, and they tried this marketing thing where they just dumped it without any hype cycle, it would have flopped so hard, so hard, because no one's just gonna. When it's free to play, it's just like, oh yeah, why not? I'll try it. When it's $60, it's like, oh, I need to know more, So and I think like they can't do that for Call of Duty. If it's
I mean, they could do the blackout and make that free.
That's what I've heard. Like people calling for blackout to be free. Well, PUBG still isn't free, right?
No, PUBG is $30. I mean, they've sold like 70 million copies, so they've made their money. But most games don't sell 70 million copies, and PUBG was at the forefront of the battle royale explosion. But then Fortnite just took.
Like if you've got an established business model that works, like Call of Duty does and PUBG does, there's no incentive for them to change that business model. But like with Apex Legends, I suppose they wanted to do something a bit different. And to get noticed in a busy sort of battle royale crowd, free to play is the way to go. I mean, I downloaded Realm Royale, right? I'm not a fan of battle royale games either, like you. I like generally, but I downloaded Realm Royale just because it was free, and I had quite a lot of fun with it. Got pretty high. Haven't won.
Dude, you need to play this. It's actually really good.
I've got it downloaded.
I am shocked, and I guess I shouldn't be, because I said Respawn's never let me down. But oh my god, and this people are gonna laugh, but I honestly, after I played it that first day, I went to bed thinking about Apex Legends.
Oh wow!
Like that's how much that first day and the next day, like I was thinking about the game. That's how you know a game's great. Like God of War, similar things. I was thinking about God of War when I wasn't playing God of War. I was thinking about Red Dead Redemption 2 when I wasn't playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
I was thinking
and
about
now
World
I
of
was
Warcraft,
thinking about
bro.
Apex. I was thinking about Apex Legends when I wasn't playing Apex Legends. Like it's crazy.
That's kind of a good game, right?
Yeah, to me. But
I've been having at least 2 zombie dreams per week because of Resident Evil.
But there's some issues. Like I don't like the fact that it's only 3 players. Like you need 3 players, right? We have a team before that we always played with in PUBG, and now that means one person.
I've heard them praise that though, because doesn't it have like this really great non-verbal communication system?
No, yeah. So the pinging system is awesome. Like that needs to, like other games need to take that, because it's you can team up with randoms and you can play a game without any sort of verbal communication by just right bumper, like it'll ping where you should go. Double clicking it will mark an enemy. You can tell people that you're looting here and all this different stuff. You can actually play a game with randoms and have nonverbal communication by how awesome the ping system is, which other games need to take that,
right? Yeah, Sea of Thieves wanted to have this nonverbal communication system, but it's really clunky. So this sounds like that, but done right.
See, for me, I just like I said, I had a group of 4 for PUBG. And it's just that means one person's sitting out, because you can only play with the max of 3. So I want it to be 4-player squads so we can all play. Because I don't like the fact that one of us has to sit out. Now, honestly, that's not going to be an issue this weekend, because like I said, I'm playing Crackdown 3, I'm playing Far Cry New Dawn, and then next week I'll be playing Metro. So I really won't have time to play Apex. But
didn't they say, sorry, just last point on that. Didn't they say that solo and duo is coming? So you could have 2 groups of 2, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, okay. It's a lot of teamwork, because a lot of the characters and all that. Like I don't know if it'll work in solo or even well in duos. I would want to see how they're gonna evolve the game and keep it fresh, add new legends with more abilities. And it's kind of funny how this game drops out of nowhere with no hype, and EA's game that they've been hyping for 2 years now comes out in 2 weeks, Anthem. And how almost this is overshadowing their own game.
That sounds familiar.
It happened to Respawn before with Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2. Now they're the other end of it. Now they're the one, receiving all the
Well,
praise and attention.
the thing is, there's not going to be much overlap between those two games because Anthem is 100% PvE based, right?
Anthem is, yes, there's no multiplayer in Anthem. Yes.
No competitive multiplayer.
No competitive multiplayer.
Well,
Yes.
I think I don't think there'll be much overlap there. You know,
God, I just want to get on my Xbox and play Anthem Apex Legends right now.
well, I got one question for you regarding Apex Legends. How does
Mhm.
it tie into the wider Titanfall universe, if at all?
I don't really think it does, to be honest with you. I mean, other than like the movement and the gunplay is right from Titanfall. Like, I'm not
So
really
it's
sure
not in the
where.
same universe. There's
I
no
mean,
Titan
I
or
think
what?
it is in the same universe, but like, who cares, right?
I care, man.
I mean, but who cares? This isn't,
I think
like.
the Titanfall universe proved with Titanfall 2 that it has the capability to go beyond just being a shooter. I
Yeah.
think, as a
I mean,
franchise.
EA also said there is a Titanfall game of some kind coming out towards the end of the year.
See, that's
Uh,
so weird because they initially said there isn't,
but then
and
they said there is.
then they changed their mind. So like
Yeah.
we went out and reported Titanfall 3 isn't in development, and Jason Schreier, is that right? From
hmm
Kotaku, he said that it had been cancelled, and then EA said, yeah, there's no Titanfall game in development right now, and then 5 minutes later they were like, oh, we're working on more Titanfall 2 as well.
I remember, so that first night we were in a party with my buddy James Shields, and he's a big Blackout fan, right? Which I see James in chat. What's up? And he was like, what do you guys think?" And I'm like, "James, this is so much better than Blackout. It's not even funny." And he's a huge Call of Duty guy, and he's like, "No, it's not." I talked to him last night. I'm like, "It's better than Blackout," and he's like, "Yeah, you were right." Like, you're damn right, I'm right. Blackout is just, in comparison, Apex Legends is so much better in every way than Blackout. Like, honest, I know, like,
It's not
what
hard.
you like is very subjective, right? But when I see people say Blackout is better than Apex Legends, I'm like, who you lying to, bro? Yourself? Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on. Like, there's no, I don't know. Either way.
Is that
Staying on this
Xbox
subject,
Game Shield?
yes.
Oh
Yes.
wow! Shout out for the new Sports Red controller.
Yes, the red controller that they debuted at Inside Xbox. Another beautiful controller that I'll probably end up buying. But sticking on EA really quickly, they blamed the low sales of Battlefield 5 on the fact that it is single player instead of Battle Royale, Jazz. What do you think?
Uh, it's hard to say because we still don't really know what their version of Battle Royale is going to look like. I think, well, to be fair, I think anything would have been better than the single player we got because Battlefield 5 single player mode was god awful. I hated it every minute of playing that. I think like the Norwegian level was the best one, but it's a bloody low bar, I think. So I think like in hindsight's always 2020, but I think pretty much anything than that single player mode would have been better for Battlefield. So probably yeah, but the battle royale mode they should have prioritized.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they wanted to sell as many copies at launch, there should have been a Battle Royale mode at launch. But Battlefield 5 seems to be a game that was just never could make the right choice, never could make the right decisions. That was mismanaged from the second they revealed that game, right?
Yeah.
And I think just saying that, oh, the reason it has less sales is because single player is a little disingenuous
It's super disingenuous.
because there was the huge backlash the game got. You know, we're not going to get into it, but essentially, there's people pissed that there's women in World War II. People that were pissed that they wanted, I'm kind of simplifying it, but people are upset with how EA was portraying.
I honestly think like I mean there are definitely idiots out there who are against any sort of diversity in the game for sure. But I think like EA doesn't do themselves any favors when they say things like "Don't buy the game,"
Well,
especially
that's what I was getting
in a
into. Is that they basically told their consumers don't buy the game if you don't like it. and that's not something you should really ever do. Not you shouldn't tell your consumer base, yeah, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Like, you know?
At the end of the day, it's just the fact that those games are just do appeal to dude, bro. Small
But I
thing.
mean, like Battlefield 1 sold 15 million copies in the same time frame. So this sold like 100% less. Sold 7 million, right?
Well, that's another thing. It's like for me that I mean I played Battlefield 5 and enjoyed it, right? And I bought it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, what does it do that Battlefield 1 didn't do? Pretty much nothing. And I mean, the setting is very similar.
Yes.
European classic theater of conflict. Like pretty much like a lot of the weapons are making us their second return from Battlefield 1, like the Thompson, for example. And it's like
I do think you're right on
the
that.
setting is just
I do think people are just worn out of World War II. I think coming out after Call of Duty already went back to World War II, hurt the game. I think the reveal hurt the game. I think I think everything they did was detrimental to Battlefield. You know, like the way they reacted to the controversy, instead of dousing the flames from the people who want a historical accuracy in women, they doubled down on it and called their consumers dumb and said, "Hey, don't buy it if you don't like it." They shouldn't have said all that stuff. They should have tried to put out the fire, but instead the fire spread, right? And then it was like, oh, like modes weren't going to be available at launch. The battle royale and some other modes were going to come later. So only at launch you had the maps for the multiplayer and single player. Then it turns out the single player is not even finished, and it was absolutely horrible. So it's like the fact that EA is blaming, oh, we did single player and that's the reason why. That's BS. Because that's an easy, they can sell that to investors. Oh, it didn't do as well because we focused on single player. We should have focused on battle royale. You should have 100%. Like, this is what I'm saying. The decisions surrounding Battlefield 5 were screwed up from the start. The fact that you didn't prioritize a battle royale right away just shows you how out of touch you are. Remember, they weren't going to even do a battle royale. Well, we're not doing it. And then all of a sudden at E3, they're like, it's Royale. And it's like, okay. And now they got their Battle Royale mode coming out next month, but nobody's going to care about it because people have Apex Legends,
which is
free.
yeah, it's okay.
Which is free. And people have to pay for the other one. So it's like every single decision they made about Battlefield 5 was the wrong decision. You know, it wasn't just single player being there instead of battle royale. It was every single thing they did wrong. Like, it's a case study of how not to screw up a franchise. You want to read about something in 10 years? I'm sure there'll be articles talking about how they screwed up Battlefield 5 and how they screwed up the franchise. So
you're saying the franchise can't come back from this?
No, of course it can come back. But this game is, I don't think this game's gonna, this game, it's done. Like, especially with the competition for Apex Legends and everything else coming out, like, they're not going to be able to salvage Battlefield 5. This is what people want. Modern combat. Battlefield does modern combat incredibly well. That is what people want from DICE. They want modern combat. So when 2 years from now it's Battlefield 6 modern combat, people will be like, all right, great. And then you can have women in the game because women are in the armed forces now. Nobody's going to care. You know what I mean? Now, I do think, well, this other thing, like, what is EA's big multiplayer game for this holiday? Jez? Because supposedly there's no Battlefront and there's no Battlefield.
A good question. Well, they've got the Jedi game, but that's not multiplayer, is it? Or is it going to have a multiplayer mode? Does anyone know?
I think it's a single player game.
That's interesting.
That's what Sam Tolbert says in chat. He's like, what does this mean for DICE? Is Battlefront 3 coming this year? I don't think so. There's no way they put out 2 Star Wars games this year. There's no way there's Battlefront 3 Star Wars and then also a Star Wars game from Respawn. Not happening. And there's definitely not a Battlefield game, so...
The thing about EA is, like, they can easily take a year off from Battlefield and Battlefront, but just because of the cash cow that is FIFA and Madden and stuff like that.
Actually, I did hear a rumor.
Oh. Let's say
that this year there's going to be a Bad Company game that's coming out.
I mean, that'd be a good way to placate the hardcore fans.
Yeah, like if they redo Battlefield Bad Company, have the single player and like the modern combat and just touch it up for next gen, people might be like, okay, this is kind of what we want. And then the following year they can do, an actual proper modern combat Battlefield. You know?
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe.
that's how it's gonna go. But God, Battlefield 5, what a train wreck that ended up being. What an
It's
utter
stupid
train
though
wreck.
because it's fun.
I mean, the
Game
multiplayer
is
is good.
fun.
Like, yes, the multiplayer is fun, but that single player was so god awful. And I
But the
like, I
thing is,
get.
I never expect a Battlefield single player to be good though.
Well, that's true.
I
That's
just
true.
honestly, for me, it's like I don't care about all the other stuff. I was just kind of bored of that setting, and I just feel like this could have been a World War II DLC for Battlefield One because it
Yeah.
plays exactly the same way. And I think some of the other stuff I didn't really like in practice, like the revival mechanic in Two, Battlefield 5 is awful. I think. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So like when you go down, for those who don't know, when you go down in Battlefield 5, you just sort of you get stuck to the floor and you just roll around waiting for a res or something. Now, it's not like you can't res people in the old games, but for some reason it's just super tedious when you die. And also it's just super weird when there's like loads of enemy corpses rolling around and you can't like it's just tactically weird because you know the players are there giving your position away and you can't kill them. I don't know. It just feels wrong somehow.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
moving on from that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Xbox stuff, right? Xbox Game Studios. They recently had Inside Xbox, I believe, on Tuesday. Not only did they reveal that sexy red controller that James Shields made, but they also had Matt Booty come out on stage to talk
Booty
about,
time.
yeah, the Booty era has begun. To talk about how they're changing the names of Microsoft Game Studios to Xbox Game Studios. And, a lot of people thought, well, it's just a name change, doesn't really mean much. But you think it does, Jez. You think it means more. There's more to it than just a simple name change, right?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it's actually pretty significant because what it does, it reflects the future of Xbox. It's no longer just like underneath Microsoft. It's its own division with its own calling, and it's becoming its own platform. So for me, what this reflects is the fact that you're gonna see Xbox on Switch, you're gonna see Xbox on phones and other devices. Any device that supports XCloud is now an Xbox platform. And I think like calling it Microsoft Game Studios is no longer appropriate, really, in that sort of wider Xbox as a platform vision. And it's going to be weird because when you boot up Minecraft on PlayStation 4, you're going to see a giant Xbox logo when you boot it up. You know,
Hmm.
so it's indicative of the times.
So okay, how do I want to say this? So you think this basically means that in the future, there'll be more Xbox content outside of Xbox console itself, so they felt it was more appropriate to be called Xbox Game Studios than Microsoft Game Studios?
Yep, I would say so. I would not be surprised if in the future we see some like second party published Microsoft games like Ori and Cuphead make their way to other platforms under the Microsoft branding with the new Xbox Live SDK, which has been announced for Nintendo Switch. Now, why would they need an Xbox Live SDK for third-party devs to use um, if they hadn't already got some Switch games planned? I mean, there's literally no point in making that development toolchain unless there was interest in it becoming a thing, right? So I would think like in the very near future, we're going to hear about some Xbox exclusives that with like some of Microsoft's maybe not even exclusives, maybe just multiplats from devs that have a really strong relationship with Microsoft, using Xbox Live on Nintendo Switch. I would like be zero surprised about that.
I mean, I agree with you. I've always thought there was a strong possibility Xbox games could show up on the Switch. In fact, I really do honestly think Ori 2 and Cuphead will be there on the Switch this year. But it's interesting to read the press release, though, Jez. Right?
Right.
I'm going to read this section to you because just listen for the word. Xbox Game Studios is made up of 13 distinct game development teams responsible for beloved franchises like Age of Empires, Forza, Gears of War, Halo, and Minecraft. The teams at 343 Industries, The Coalition, Compulsion Games, The Initiative, NXL Entertainment, Minecraft, Ninja Theory, Obsidian Entertainment, Playground Games, Rare, Turn 10 Studios, Undead Labs, and our global publishing group are working hard to deliver incredible exclusives, original IP, and all new chapters from your favorite franchises. Right? So I read that and I'm like, okay, they use the term exclusives, right? Ain't nothing exclusive about a game that if it's on the Switch. Like you could make the argument, and I know people have, right? That Windows 10 and Xbox are basically the same thing. Even though one's PC and one's a console, basically you can only play those games through Microsoft's own store. So they are exclusive, right?
Yeah.
But if Ori 2 is on the Switch, not exclusive. And you shouldn't use that word.
But you're not going to get Halo Infinite on the Switch.
I mean, how do you know that?
Well, Switch can't handle it.
But xCloud could through streaming.
Yeah, but then it's still through Microsoft Store, like you said.
Right, but I'm just saying. Well, okay, so that would be okay. So that would be the worker how they get around calling it exclusive.
It's still a platform exclusive. The thing is, like, I encourage everyone to go and watch Microsoft's video on something called the Intelligent Edge, right? And this is how Microsoft's thinking about computing now. That Microsoft's thought process regarding computing is we've got all these devices, all these screens, and there's no way any single company can compete against all those screens. So what Microsoft's intention here is to just, instead of competing against the screens, they are going to assimilate the screens, and they're going to put their services on every single damn screen they can, which is why you get like Office on iPad now, which is something like people said hell had frozen over when Office came to iPad. You know, you've got Office on Android now. You've got like, you can access your OneDrive files on any device with a screen, any smart device with a screen. And it's going to be like that with Xbox. You'll be able to access your Xbox library on any device with a screen that allows it. So like, maybe Sony doesn't allow it because they don't want to compete with xCloud on their own platform, and that's fine. But any other platform, such as Android, Android won't be able to refuse it because they have a monopoly on mobile, and Microsoft will just be like, oh well, they're being anti-competitive by blocking our service on their platform. So yeah. Android can't block it, and you've got iOS, which Microsoft has a good relationship with because of Office. So like, it won't get blocked on iOS, and then you've got Nintendo Switch, which Nintendo and Xbox seem to be pretty buddy these days, and they don't seem to consider each other direct competition for whatever reason.
No, they don't. They definitely don't. And shout out to the Ravenflow for the super chat. He says it's a monopolization of online systems. Look, we all knew Microsoft. I mean, the writing's been on the wall for this for a long time. You know, like they're gonna put their stuff where as many people are, and the people are on mobile phones and stuff, right? The people just didn't really believe that Nintendo would be involved, and for a while, I didn't really believe it either because Nintendo's still very protective of their brand. But once Minecraft was shown to have crossplay.
Not just that, but Xbox Live login.
Right.
You have to log in to
Nintendo,
Xbox Live.
Yeah, where Nintendo was fine with the idea of people logging into Xbox Live through the Nintendo Switch. I'm like, oh man, this is just inevitable at this point now. It's going to happen. It won't happen on PlayStation because Sony wouldn't allow it. But look, we both agree, Jazz. If Sony would allow Xbox Live on PlayStation, it'd be there as well, right?
100%. 100,000%.
When Phil says he wants to put Xbox everywhere, he really does mean everywhere. So, but All right. What about this situation? Now we talked about like potentially Ori and Cuphead coming to Switch, right? Do you think if that's true, if that does happen, and like Ori 2 has, Xbox Live functionality, right? Where you could I'm curious if it would be truly like what am I looking for? Like play anywhere. Where I buy Ori 2 on my Xbox. I log into my PC, I have it there. But then I also log into the Nintendo Switch and I can enter my Xbox Live ID and then boom, Ori 2's is there on the Switch. And I can just
That's the real kicker. Like we've been in this situation on PC where, for example, City Skylines is the perfect Xbox Play Anywhere game in theory, right? But it's not. It's not Xbox Play Anywhere, and it has a different price point on PC for a Windows Store than it does on Xbox, and that's because they want to price match with Steam, but they can't simultaneously price match Steam with console, so they just forego Xbox Play Anywhere. So there are some like really weird economic financial decisions which make the idea of Xbox Play Anywhere on Switch sort of impossible because Switch games are expensive, man. I don't know what they're like in America, but Switch games are more expensive than Xbox games in Europe generally, especially digital ones.
yeah, and you know what's interesting about the Cuphead trailer from this past year's E3 is that it didn't say console exclusive on it, which had raised my eyebrows at the time. And I'm like, but I was pretty sure the Cuphead developer said Cuphead 1 was eternally an Xbox exclusive. But when the
Well,
DLC came out, or when that trailer for the DLC came out, there was no mention of console exclusive. Not that I can remember off the top of my head. I'm sure somebody will correct me. But I don't know. I do feel though that if this did happen, because it's all just we don't know for sure. It's just I I think it's a very strong possibility. How many people are going to freak out, Jez? Like that day where Mike, because like Thomas Mahler, who is the creative director at Moon Studios behind this game, I mean, he's on record saying that something's going to happen in the future that is going to shock the industry regarding Ori 2. But like the only thing that could have potentially shocked the industry about Ori 2 is it being on a different platform other than Xbox and Windows 10.
yep, I think that's. I mean, what else could it possibly be? You know.
I mean, I couldn't see it being anything else other than like it's on the Switch. Which yeah, that would be pretty shocking. I ain't gonna lie. Like that would be the bullet that like people are now. It's no longer speculation. Like the hard reality is here, and there is an Xbox game on another platform. Like I honestly think it might happen. I honestly really do, and I honestly,
I'd be willing to put money down that we'll see maybe Ori, maybe Cuphead, maybe even Battletoads, like those sort of 2D games which would run well on the Switch hardware. You know, and what, for example, Wasteland 2, that's on Switch, and it's a Microsoft game now. So, like, is that going to be updated with the Xbox Studios branding? I suppose not because they didn't publish it. But the thing that Wasteland 2 comes under Switch, and Wasteland 3 presumably will be on Switch as well because it's a Unity-based game. So, you know, I think this is the future that people need to accept is that Microsoft doesn't care where you want to play. Like if you prefer playing your games on Switch, Microsoft's going to be there for you. If you
well,
prefer playing your
in some
games on
manner.
Xbox, huh?
In some manner, it's like you said, you don't see a scenario where Halo's there.
Well, I mean, they'd have to degrade the experience a lot to get Halo running on that hardware. But like, who knows, man? If there's like, well, that's what streaming's for, you know. And like some third party games which the Switch can't handle, like Resident Evil 7, for example, they have like that weird streaming mode. You remember?
Yeah,
So
we have over 300 watching, but only 88 likes. Do us a favor, get us over 100, and get us approaching 200 by the end of the show. Come on, there's 300 of you here just listening. Just click that little button. We'd appreciate it. But just so the Xbox Live on Switch thing, the SDK. What exactly does that mean? So is it essentially Xbox is making the feature set where if you're making a game that has multiplayer of some kind, If you just use the tools that Microsoft has already made, then you can have your game be crossplay without any work done on your end, right? That's basically what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. It lets you tap into Xbox Live services. So like at the minute, these tools exist already, and they've existed for quite a while. Designed for Minecraft, funnily enough. So like on Android, for example, when you play Minecraft Pocket Edition on Android, you have to sign into Xbox Live, and that gives you access to your Minecraft Realm servers that you subscribe to, gives you access to Chivos and multiplayer, and lets you see your friends list and all that online services stuff that already exists. So the news here is that they're letting third party developers use it, and it's funny because I tweeted Mikey Barra a few years ago, because I was playing Age of Empires Castle Siege on Android, which is another Xbox Live game for phones, although it's shut down now, sadly. But it was a pretty decent, casual sort of Twitch based strategy game, and that had Xbox Live integration on Android, and it synchronized across Windows 10 and all that stuff. And I was like, Mike, um, why can't uh, why can't third party developers use Xbox Live on Android? It'd be cool if I could see more Android games with Xbox Live. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. So it's
Now,
a no brainer.
now wouldn't it be cool if you were playing a game on the Switch that also had a Xbox counterpart, like say Warframe. Say you're playing Warframe on the Switch, but you're also like logged into Xbox Live or whatever, and you start earning like Warframe achievements on the Switch for your Xbox. Like how you can with Minecraft. Like Minecraft, you can play Minecraft on Switch and get Xbox achievements. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, that'd be interesting if they do it like that, or like those kind of scenarios. I do wonder. I wonder if they're getting anything back from Nintendo other than like Nintendo just letting them do that. You know,
Well,
if
that's the weird thing. It's like it's almost like Microsoft doesn't care. They don't. They're not in a position where like they desperately need the revenue back. I mean, they need it to be like business neutral, right? But it's almost like chasing a vision rather than chasing money for Microsoft at this point.
hmm hmm. Now there was this other interesting report that Z Huge shared with people about an investor that had an interview with Microsoft, and that well, the big takeaway from this, I'm not going to go over the whole thing because I did a video about it earlier, was that Microsoft has one of its primary goals that Microsoft has is the delivery of one AAA game per quarter in order to drive subscriptions of Xbox Game Pass. So essentially,
Sounds like what I've heard.
so basically 4 AAA games per year, or at least one per quarter. Now, the only thing I'm kind of hung up on here is that is it strictly just one per quarter coming from their own teams, or just a AAA game regardless, just in Game Pass no matter what? Like, I'll Shadow of the Tomb Raider's in Game Pass right now.
I think
Is
getting
that
to a
what?
point where they, I think honestly, getting to a point where they have 4 AAA games per quarter, I honestly think that is probably their goal, and it's something that's potentially doable. But we have to remember, what is Microsoft's definition of AAA here? As Microsoft said, State of Decay 2 is AAA. You
Well,
know.
technically, the developers said State of Decay
Oh,
2 is
okay.
AAA.
Well, either way, it's like I honestly feel like Microsoft's definition of AAA differs from what fans think of AAA.
So, are you saying Super Lucky's Tale is AAA?
I would hope they don't consider Super Lucky's Tale AAA, but who knows? Maybe they do. Um, but I suppose like it's different though when you get in the game for free. Like there are games that I've enjoyed on Game Pass that I wouldn't necessarily have paid $60 for. You know, um, and I'm sure that's going to be true for a lot of people for a lot of games. It's all about just giving people compelling reasons to stay subscribed. And I think we talked about it on the last podcast where I was saying how like on Netflix you have your flagship shows on Netflix, like Stranger Things and House of Cards, at least. before Kevin Spacey went crazy, and and it's going to be the same on Game Pass, where like you have your Halos and your Gears of Wars as your flagship Game Pass experiences, and then in between those you have like maybe your smaller experiences like Bard's Tale 5 or whatever Wasteland, whatever in Exile's working on and stuff like that. Although I'm sure that those devs will get up to that level if Microsoft invests correctly, but I'm not expecting, I'm not expecting The Witcher 4 from In Exile. Hello?
Mm. Yeah, so you're not expecting The Witcher. I mean, no, I don't think anybody's expecting The Witcher 4 from even Obsidian.
Well, that's what I mean. Those games can be like, they'll be great games, but they'll be sort of in between the bigger titles. And I think like a big part of getting Game Pass into the mainstream is its consistency, right? It's making sure that you get people into a habit of expecting a big game every couple of months or every 3 or 4 months or whatever, you know. And that's kind of how Netflix gets people into a habit of paying for Netflix. I can't imagine unsubscribing from Netflix now. It just feels like it's part of my life, which is kind of maybe sad. But I don't buy TV. I just have Netflix because why would I need anything else?
Yeah, I mean, do you think their 13 studios is enough to basically meet this goal, or do you still think they need to go out and shop some more?
No, I definitely think they need to shop.
They do need to shop. How many
I
like
don't, I don't think 13 is enough.
they're
I mean, we could do the math, right? Like estimation.
okay, what do you think to hit that goal of a AAA game per quarter? How many studios does Microsoft need to get up to?
Well, let's say each studio takes. I mean, how many years do you think it needs to make for a AAA game? Like 2 or 3?
I mean, it depends. Like, what is AAA? It depends what Microsoft views as AAA. State of Decay 2 AAA is Super Lucky's Tale AAA.
That's
Like,
another thing. It's like the length of development is longer depending on the size of the dev.
yeah, like the Initiatives game is probably easily going to be a minimum of 3-year development, if not 4, right? But then Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport are usually 2 years. Um, I like right now, like I know on Reset Era and especially in the Discord, shout out to those guys. They have this hashtag. It's called hashtag 20 by 20. They think Microsoft will have 20 studios by the end of 2020.
Mm.
So 7 more from now. I think that's a tad bit unrealistic.
Those guys, like they are mad for
Yes, they sure are.
mad for acquisition.
They like talking about Xbox all day, every day, which is great. And you don't have to deal with a lot of the regular doom and gloom that pervades some of Reset Era's actual threads about Xbox.
Some threads.
Some threads, most threads.
All
But
threads.
Microsoft acquiring another 7 studios in another 2 years or a year and a half or whatever, I think is a little bit unrealistic. I think
You never know,
maybe
man. You never
I mean,
know.
you never know. You never know. Maybe if like Xbox, like Satya sees the growth and the money, he might be like, all right, like here you go. But I don't know. Like I still think this year you'll get a couple. Someone had tweeted me that he wants Microsoft to buy Nod and Night School Studios, but
Mm.
I think episodic gaming like that, I think that's really doesn't have value anymore.
No, I think the whole episodic thing is.
I think the bubbles burst on that. So I'm not saying Nod's not a good developer because they are, but I'm not sure they're worth buying.
Like Vampire was like so close to being a great game. They needed like a quality combat designer or something. Right. Did you play that? You did, right?
Vampire, I played it for a little bit, didn't really care for it.
I played it like I didn't complete it, but I got to the last area, but I just got bored. Like the combat is so repetitive. But like they could easily get up to that level, I think, with like the right acquisitions. We could talk about what studios they could buy like until the cows come home. Because really, when Microsoft's checkbook is open, and there are a lot of struggling mid-tier devs, like who just live you know, pretty much project to project. And it's like if one project flops really bad, that's like the end, for the whole studio.
Well, yeah. So DJ Singh says Typhon Studios is the current rumor, and I'm pretty sure that was something put out by Clobril, but then like the devs themselves caught wind of it and started like making fun of that.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that they said something like, "Oh yeah, Microsoft, we'd love to be bought. Let's hit us up with something," like joking around about it.
yeah,
But like, it doesn't seem like it was true, or it wasn't true anymore, or something.
it does seem though, like especially when I go into the Reset Air thread, when they talk about Xbox, like the entire threads can just be about studios that Microsoft's going to buy, and it's all just, oh, what about this studio? What about this studio? It's like that's what the it's just funny. Uh, what like this whole thing has kind of started. Now it's just like studios and rumors and all this stuff. Um, so I don't know. Like, I do think Microsoft needs more studios if their goal is at one AAA per quarter and it's coming from their own first party. I would say they probably need about four more.
Yeah.
I think four more studios would be about where you need to go. But I mean, there's quality studios out there, but I mean, it's so expensive to bring these studios in. You
Yeah,
know,
and like, especially since now like studios are aware that Microsoft's shopping, they're probably like up there like their valuations and stuff like that.
yeah, because like right now, I think all the studio heads are at Microsoft. For their plans for the upcoming year and talking about like how they're going to share technology, which is great. That's one of the things the Sony studios are really good at is sharing engines and technology and know-how and experience to help make their games as best as possible. And you really haven't heard much of that from Xbox. Well, then again, quite frankly, Microsoft's first party has been pretty anemic for quite some time because their first party has been incredibly small. It's been what 343, the Coalition, Minecraft, and Rare for the most part for this whole gen, right?
Yep.
I mean, they don't really have a lot of studios, so there's really not much technology sharing because you don't really have a lot of people that are under the same umbrella as you that have the same NDAs that work for the same company because even Playground said when they were just second party doing Forza Horizon, they weren't included in a lot of that stuff because they couldn't be.
Yeah, I remember this whole. I mean, it's funny. Like there was this whole thing with Nokia too, where Nokia was the biggest Windows Phone company, but they were saying like Microsoft won't share half their secrets with us, so it's good that we're being bought out because it means we'll be able to technology share now. But then Microsoft shut them down.
The Ravenflow says
Yeah.
Xbox had more first party than Sony last gen, but studios closed down. I don't think that's true. Like Microsoft's first party has
I
been
think
about as big as it's been. Like
he's talking about. I think he's talking about a lot of the because I see this spammed around on social media about like look at all the studios feel closed, man. But like it's all these like HoloLens studios and all these Windows 8 phone studios and like studios like Press Play and stuff like that that didn't really make any money.
I mean, they shut down Lionhead. They shut down Press Play. They shut down. I can't even really think of the other ones they shut
Some
down.
some of those like weird studios like I can't remember their names now, but there was a bunch of like smaller studios that were working on mixed reality games and stuff like that. But the thing is, a lot of these studios didn't actually get shut down; they just got folded into other companies. And
Well, did they even make any games? Like,
that's
did
the
Lit
thing. It's like,
Studios make anything? I don't think they did.
yeah, I mean, Microsoft plans changed a lot regarding like mobile and mixed reality. A lot of their plans like just sort of shifted around. Like they decided, you know what, we actually don't need three studios working on mixed reality games right now because mixed reality ambitions is more like industrial military applications. Like they've just sold $500 million worth of HoloLenses to the US military. Did you see this?
I did not see this. So what happened?
They sold $500 million worth of HoloLens to the US military.
Hmm.
So like HoloLens isn't going anywhere.
Well, yeah. I
Um,
mean, I don't think it really has gaming applications, though. That was the thing people really.
hey, have you not played HoloLens Conquer?
No, nobody's played HoloLens Conquer.
I
Nobody
I
wants to play
I
HoloLens
played it.
Conquer.
I played it and it's good actually.
No, you haven't.
I have played it. I owned HoloLens for a little while. I had to give it to Zach, but we have two HoloLenses in the company, and I borrowed it for a while, and I played Conquer, man. Like it put like coins all over your tables and your floor and stuff, and you just moved them around with a joystick and picked up the coins. It was just a
Mm.
tech demo, but it's still kind of cool. But I've heard, Rand, that some big franchises actually from Microsoft might actually be making their way to mixed reality this year.
Oh, great.
So
Great.
you got that to look forward to, pal.
Yeah, great. So I can look forward to what? To what? Like not playing it on my Xbox? I mean, awesome.
So, like one of the things that we rarely talk about is VR for Anaconda, because like the Xbox One X was announced as a VR platform, and then they were like, actually, nah. I
Actually, no.
mean,
Well, yeah. So that's yeah. I still recall when they originally announced Scorpio, Phil said it was going to be a premium VR experience, right?
yeah.
And VR never came to Xbox One X,
No,
and they have no plans on ever doing it. But you still feel strongly that the next Xbox will have VR?
I don't know. That's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, do you think it's necessary anymore? Do you think the fad is past? Because
Ne-
Sony seems to be doubling down on it.
Necessary? I'm not sure it's necessary. Is it something that would be nice to have? Yeah, why not? I'm sure there are people out there that would like to have some VR stuff, but at the time, like, I, I'm not sure how it would work. Would it just be okay? Microsoft comes in, they allow VR, they just have games from Windows and Steam come into it. They obviously wouldn't be really making games for it themselves. Um, I don't know. I would if VR comes to the system at the expense of something else, then I would say it's not worth it. But if it's just add it and nothing else gets taken away, then sure. I mean, I don't. I'd be all for it. But I'm
Well,
sure.
I'm gonna tell you something interesting though, because well, at least I think it's interesting. Maybe other people will as well. But UWP is dead.
It
Oh,
died, huh?
UWP is pretty much dead. They the UWP will continue to exist for like system apps like Mail and OneNote and Microsoft To Do List and stuff like that. But as a gaming platform, it seems like Microsoft's stopped banging that drum. And today on the Windows 10, I'm going to get to why this is relevant for Xbox in a second. But on today on Windows 10 Skip Ahead Ring, they announced a new PC game installation experience. And to help test it, they were giving insiders a free copy of State of Decay 1, which isn't a UWP game at all, being delivered over the Microsoft Store. So, one of the big barriers to VR, I think, for Microsoft was they were trying to get developers to move away from their Win32 development chains and move over to UWP. But the thing is, UWP VR is like a niche within a niche within a niche within a niche, which is kind of like, why would a developer work on a completely different version when they've just made like a Win32 version for PC, which is where most VR lives? So I think there's a good chance that the next Xbox might actually be supporting Win32 development as well because of that. And
Hmm.
like, as such, it's kind of like if it's supporting Win32, then that means like easy VR ports to the system and also maybe even mods and shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, UWP was a failure, Jez. I'm not surprised that it's
Hella
dead.
failure.
What?
Hella failure.
Yeah, a huge failure. Nobody cares about UWP because nobody cares about the Windows 10 store. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's like chicken and egg though. It's like nobody cares about the Windows 10 store because it had no
well,
games.
look at what Epic's doing with the Epic store.
Yeah, but it had no games because developers didn't want to develop for for UWP. Whereas on the Epic store, you just slap your Win32 games on there and it just works.
Man, we got to talk about the Epic Store here in a second.
Oh yeah.
Eternal Shaddai with the Super Chat says, what game studio should Microsoft revive from the OG era until now? I mean, the only one that they really closed that sticks out to me is Lionhead. You know, the other ones I didn't really think did anything special or anything noteworthy. So that'd be the one I would pick, Jez.
Hmm. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I can't really think of another like a
You
studio that
worked
they
on the
should.
MechWarrior games back in the day.
I have no clue. No clue.
Was that Second Party?
It might
I
have
don't.
been, but geez, this whole Epic Store thing is just getting every single time. Okay, Bizarre So the Ravenflow says Bizarre Studios. Nope, not Microsoft owned. They
Okay.
were independent. They did Project Gotham, and then Activision bought them.
Are you
And
more talking about which studio brands would be worth reviving, or actual like studios? Because like some of those studios close for a reason, you know. Say,
well,
uh,
the only one that did anything interesting that I can think of off the top of my head is Lionhead. Like Bizarre, like they weren't never owned, so it was just they just did PGR, and Activision bought them. They did Blur, and then they did a James Bond game, and they shut them down right afterwards.
rip.
I guess Internal Strategy. He says Ensemble, who did Halo Wars 1,
Ooh.
but
And no, Ensemble did all. They didn't just do Halo Wars 1. They did all the Age of Empires games.
well, you
So
see,
I
I
would
never played an Age of Empires game, so to me,
call them. You could call them re-ensemble if they brought them back.
re-ensemble. I mean, they shut them down right after Halo Wars. But then again, I'm not really into RTS games, so like that one kind of I just don't remember. But this Epic Game Store thing, Jez, how interesting has it really gotten? Because
This is my favorite story of the moment, actually.
really, I mean, there's a lot of things going around here. So you have Epic Games. Uh, they got Division 2. They money hatted Ubisoft, and then they money hatted Metro Exodus. So even though Metro Exodus is about to come out on Steam, like Epic's like, here you go, here's some money, and now you're Epic only, and which was a weird move. And then like a developer for Metro was like, if PC gamers aren't gonna buy it, then the next game won't come to PC. Oh, Jesus, man, like,
I was thinking about writing an editorial on this about how Epic Games money hatting doesn't really take into consideration how developers are going to have to float the PR bill because it pisses people off, right? I remember like Coffee Stain signed up to Epic Games Store for their upcoming game, and uh, Coffee Stain Publishing, they own Goat Simulator, right? And I
mhm.
think and also uh what's that game called now? Deep Rock Galactic. I think Coffee Stain published that as well. I could be wrong about that actually. But off the top of my head, I think yeah. But they like that they put out a series of YouTube videos because like they have their fans and their fans are pissed. Like I was waiting for this game to come out. I can't remember what the game is now even, but they're like, yeah, this game's going to be exclusive to Epic Game Store, and like they basically put out, like they had to put out like 3 or 4 videos basically apologizing and explaining like, yeah, we needed the money, we needed the cash flow, blah blah blah, and like, and it's fair enough. I don't see the financials that these studios have to deal with. And I'm sure, like, especially for Metro Exodus, they're not making service driven games with microtransactions and stuff like that. They've pretty much only got one game to their name, and um they only make like one single player game every few years. So cash flow in that studio must not be easy, right? Which is why they sign up to publisher deals with and it was the publisher and 4A Games made the decision to do this. So it's like Koch Media, right?
Mhm.
Um, as such, like they've been having to deal with their PR issues now. So like a developer said on a Russian forum, just like that he was pissed about it and saying like, well, if people don't support us anymore, then that's going to be the end of making the PC versions or whatever, loosely translated from Russian. Which like, and then it pissed everyone off, and then Koch Media had to put out a statement saying, "It's the views expressed by one of our developers does not represent the views of Koch Media. It was just the views of one developer who's frustrated with the situation, blah blah blah," and basically saying basically apologizing again. So like every developer that has been involved with Epic Games has had to like mitigate PR fallout as a result of this. And I see like there's two sides to the argument, right? One side of the argument is, well, it's just another launcher. It doesn't matter having to click a button to open a launcher. I mean, what's the big deal, right? I've got on my PC, I've got the Battle.net launcher for World of Warcraft and Heroes of the Storm and stuff like that. And then I've got Steam if I ever want to play a Steam game like Stellaris. And then I got the Microsoft Store, which I use for Frostpunk because I like the automatic resolution scaling on UWP containers. Sue me. Um, but then like adding like I don't have the Epic Game Store right now, but like if there was a game exclusive to the Epic Game Store on PC that I really wanted to play, like for example, if Stellaris 2 was exclusive to the Epic Game Store, I would download the Epic Game Store in a heartbeat. But there are legitimate reasons to be concerned with the Epic Game Store. For example, there's less features, right? There's no reviews system. Their customer support service is being investigated by customer satisfaction companies or something, and you've got like there's loads of other missing features. Their refund system's been under the spotlight for not giving refunds appropriately. Developers can't interact with gamers on it. There's no social tools, no social platform, and also Epic Games is funded in part by Tencent, who are beholden to the Chinese government. So and Epic Games put out a statement saying like we have nothing to do with Tencent, we're independent, blah blah blah. They just have some investment in us. I mean, sure, but I still don't feel great about supporting a company that is involved with Tencent like that, personally. So like there is like legitimate concerns to be had there. I feel. I mean,
Isn't it?
What do you think about the whole
Isn't
thing?
it interesting that the success of Fortnite has led to this? Like
Yeah, I
this
suppose
is
so.
directly responsible or directly because of all the money they made with Fortnite, right?
And it's funny because it's driven him into hypocrisy.
Well, yeah. So Tim Sweeney basically is hypocrite like 101. Like you want to see a hypocrite in action? Look at that. He lambasted Microsoft for trying to build a wall garden on PC, right?
Yeah.
Like went at Microsoft. So much so, like Phil Spencer had to respond and Ybarra and everybody. And then what does he do when he finally gets some money and wants to build a competitor to Steam? Makes it a walled garden. Like it's one thing to like maybe I'm not a PC gamer, right? So like when I see like, oh well, just it's just a launcher, whatever. Like if you really want to play Metro, play it on on Epic. And I understand like the PC is all about options. So like you should be able to play it where you want. Like the game should be on Epic and on Steam and all these other places, so you can play it wherever you choose to play. And I understand that Epic's like their store doesn't have a lot of the common features that Steam does. I do think it's weird to see the kind of this console mentality come to PC, where companies are buying exclusives.
And also, it's making PC gamers hypocritical as well, because they were like, we love options, blah blah blah, but then defending Steam, like wanting it to be the only platform. It's weird. Um, on the one hand, I'm happy, right, that there's going to be more competition, and like in theory, because Steam having a monopoly is not good.
Let me ask you this: is it really competition though? Because
Why you say that?
usually you say competition is good because consumers benefit from it, right? We benefit from these companies competing for a dollar, right? But I don't really see any benefit from this whatsoever.
Well,
Epic,
I'll tell you a benefit right now. The writer of Portal and Half-Life has mysteriously returned to Valve recently.
okay, so maybe
they're like, oh shit, we need our own
so
exclusive.
if that forces Valve to start making actual game content again, like a Left 4 Dead 3 or Half-Life 3 or Portal 3. Yeah, if that kind of competition where it forces Valve to actually make games, that'd be good. But like normally, I don't know, like normally it just is like competition, the consumer benefits, and I don't really see who's benefiting from Metro Exodus only being available on Epic. The only people I
Yeah.
can see is Epic and the developers who are getting a paycheck. Otherwise, consumers aren't, because
Well, that's the kicker, you know.
right. And I know there are people like, well, this is good for the developers because they'll get a cut, and they also get a better revenue share because Epic is at what 88-12 right now.
Yeah, something.
Um, but it's just weird to see these developers just ditch Steam so fast for that sweet moolah, because you would imagine the Epic Store. I know Fortnite's on there, right? And Fortnite's the most played game in the world, but I can't imagine a lot of people are actually buying games from the Epic Store. So even though
Yeah.
they may get a better revenue share, if there's only 100 people shopping there and there's a million over at Steam, who cares if you get more of the of that money? You're not going to get as much as you would if you were on Steam, right?
Well, I honestly think like Epic Game Store exclusivity pretty much sucked all the hype out of Ashen. It's like I wrote an editorial that Cuphead became a meme overnight, right, when it launched, like Cup Souls and all that stuff. There is no way Cuphead would have been as big as it was if it hadn't come to Steam. If it was just Microsoft platforms, absolutely no way it would have been as big as it was. So like I think Ashen lost a lot of its hype because it didn't hit Steam, which has the distribution, which has, you know, the curation, which has the algorithms, like where people, it's like, oh, you like RPGs, check out Ashen, you know. A lot of people discover games like that. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, also, I think one of the reasons why Ash and the hype went is because there was no reviews out for the game in
yeah,
the beginning.
because of the Epic Game Store thing too.
I still find that incredibly weird that Epic would run the PR for Ashen when they have a publisher, Annapurna, who that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's also weird. Like
Isn't
that
that
whole Epic just fucked up Ashen. Like I'm gonna
are they
spoil
also
thing.
fucking up Metro?
I mean, maybe. And at least like Metro's had pretty good marketing. Like there's lots of really great videos about it, but they they managed to suck out all the goodwill with gamers like overnight, especially with that dev making the comment he did.
Like what I'm saying, like
It
I
sounds
under
like the devs were surprised by this. It sounds like the devs didn't know.
right, that's the thing. Look, and I understand, like if in this day and age, right? If you actually wanted to make a PC competitor, this is what you would actually have to do. You couldn't do it any other way. How are you going to make PC gamers choose your store over somebody else? They already love Steam. To them, Steam is PC gaming, despite what people will say. Like they only want to use Steam. So if you're trying to build your own store, how would you go about it? If I was Epic, I would do the same thing. I would start money heading games to be only available on my store, so I force people to use it.
I mean, this is what iOS does. Like iOS has a bunch of exclusive mobile games that Apple paid for that aren't on Android. They did it with bloody Halo Spartan Strike. Yeah, you can't get Halo Spartan Strike on Android. It's exclusive to iPhone because Apple presumably paid some kind of dividend to Microsoft and
I mean,
PG.
it's this Steam is so ingrained in the PC culture at this point, right?
Yeah, it is.
That the only one somebody can break in is exactly how Epic is doing it, with a ton of money, where they can just go after all these big games who just so happen to be already upset at Steam about the revenue split and all this stuff. And a lot of these smaller indie devs, they don't like it either. So it's like, here comes Epic with a boatload of money because of Fortnite, and they're like, we're going to give you a bigger split. We're going to cut you a check. Come over here. And all these games that these PC people want to play that they've been used to playing on Steam, it's like, well, if you really want to play Metro, you got to go to Epic. And people will be like, well, it's just another launcher, which it just is. But see, I don't really know how much that really I don't game on PC. So like I couldn't tell you if that's really a big deal or not because I don't really have any experience on it. You know what I mean? Somebody who does play a lot on PC will be like, well, here are the reasons why this whole thing is bad. And they'll list 100 different reasons, which I don't know anything about because I don't play on PC. Like, you can ask me something about Xbox and I probably have an answer because I know a lot about Xbox, but like PC gaming, I don't really know anything about, you know? Speaking about Xbox, Jez, you know, we talked a little bit earlier about Xbox Live coming to Switch, right? And iOS and Android. But if they really want to make that move, don't you think they got to really fix Xbox Live and the sign-in problems and all these issues they've been having lately?
Yeah, I literally tweeted this the other day. It's
Like,
like,
it's gotten really bad recently. So bad that there was that black screen of death. I think it was last week where like Xbox consoles were basically unusable for a little bit of time. And if
it's
you're gonna,
it's bad because like as Xbox Live scales, it's all connected, right? If like Azure goes down, it affects everything. It affects Office, it affects people's businesses, it affects everything. So and like while no data gets lost because like of you know server migration and stuff like that, it's still so frustrating when you just can't log in, even like to play offline. It's weird, but the thing is, Microsoft presumably is one of the few companies that has the scale to add new servers. I just hope that they. The weird thing about online stuff is that no developer seems to accurately estimate how much stuff they need.
Apex
Like,
Legends did.
huh?
Legends actually, made sure to have enough servers. Like, I know Anthem was screwed up at the beginning, but like, usually at the launch of a big game, you can always count like, oh, the servers won't work right away, right? For at
Yeah, I
least
guess.
a day. Those whoever servers they were using, I don't know if they were EA's or somebody else's, they worked. They had enough.
I actually don't know how EA does its cloud. I need to look into that probably. I don't know if they buy from Amazon or just actually just have. I don't think they have their own servers. They must buy from Amazon or something.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of these, no, most of the time these outages for Xbox Live happen when I'm not on, but I still see them,
Mm.
and I look at them like, man, like, you got to rectify this. I mean, not only do we pay for it, right? Which I'm not expecting 100% uptime on any service I pay for. Like, there'll be times Netflix is down or whatever. Like, I don't think anybody realistically expects 100% uptime, but I expect it to be, working the vast majority of the time. But it just seems like every day there's the black screen issue. Oh, the games won't start. Here's this issue. You can't sign in. And it's just like every single day there seems to be a new issue. And it's like, well, if you're bringing all these services elsewhere, if you're going to have xCloud streaming, this stuff better work. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and it's going to put a lot of strain on servers and stuff. So
DJ Singh says Sony goes out for a whole week in a row, but Xbox goes down and meteor hits the earth. I mean, yeah, I still remember when Sony was down for a month with their.
yeah, when has Sony been down for a week recently?
Recently, no. If nobody's been down for a week, I think that's a little exaggeration, hyperbole. But like, if somebody was down for a week in this day and age, it'd be a catastrophe. Because not only can people not play, think of all the money developers are losing out. Like, think of if Xbox Live is inaccessible for millions of people for 20 to 30 minutes, how much money are they losing on game sales, DLCs, cosmetic purchases? And think about that. If you're down
Fortnite
for a week, how
V-Bucks.
much money is that? Billions of dollars? Like, that's pretty bad, you know.
Yeah.
I still say if that Sony hack happened now, if tomorrow Sony the PlayStation Network went offline, or you know what, let's say it was Xbox Live too, it'd be same for both, and they were offline for a month because of a security breach, it'd be over. It'd be over. I'm telling you right now. Like, they're lucky that happened 2009ish, where they were able to recover. But if that happened today in this day and age, like, it's game over. Like, people, I don't know. At least I think it is. I mean, I don't really trust many corporations, regardless. I mean, I don't have my payment information on PlayStation for that very reason. Now, I do have my some of my credit cards tied to my Xbox account. But if that ever happened, boom, those are gone in a second. Like, I would remove those instantly.
How do you buy things on PlayStation then? If without,
I just buy a gift card from Amazon.
Oh, I should do that.
PlayStation gift card. I, I
Yeah, I got my cards tied up to PlayStation because I like to live on the edge.
you sure do, but you don't even use PlayStation though. Like, what are you buying from PSN? You barely even turn your system on.
I suppose I buy games when they're on sale, exclusives, like Bloodborne, which I haven't played.
Bloodborne, which people want us to do some sort of co-op stream.
Oh my god, that'd be hard. Man, I still need to finish The Last of Us. I got to summer, I think.
You got the somewhere? Well, that's pretty good.
Wait,
Where do you think?
no, no, no. I mean summer. Like what?
Oh, summer. Okay.
I got to the university
Ooh, so what are you thinking of it?
of Last of Us. It's
Yeah.
incredible. It's one of the best games I've ever played. Like I've not even finished it, but it's easily one of, I don't know, top 5 of all time.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I like so just some of the things that happen in the game. I mean, I could gush about. We could do a whole stream gushing about The Last of Us, but I'm not going to do that. But like, man, I really want Microsoft to be able to give those experiences, with Xbox.
I mean, of course. I mean, like I think Last of Us is one of those rarefied air games, but like I really do expect Gears 5 to be much, much better than Gears 4. Not saying it's going to approach like a 96 on Metacritic, but like Gears 4 being it was a 2-year dev cycle, Gears 3, Gears 5, or it was more like a 3-year. I expect good things and great things from Gears 5. I
Yeah, I agree.
expect great things out of the initiative. I mean, your website, every single time they hire something new, I see a article from Windows Central.
Ash is watching that stuff like a hawk, man. He's like, "Oh my god, Jez, look at that hired. Can I write about it?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I mean, this last one was some lady I've never heard of, and it's like, oh, they hired. I'm like, who is this person? Like, I don't know. Like, all I really want
Ash should watch his
is
LinkedIn like a
is
hawk.
is for all these studios to make great games, right? The Initiative, Playground Games, Second
We
Studio,
cover it because
Obsidian, like
we cover it because there's this narrative that Microsoft hasn't been investing.
well, the problem is you won't see a lot of these games. Well, some like I think we'll see Ninja Theory's game. I'm pretty positive Ninja Theory's game is going to be revealed at E3 and it's going to release next year. Like
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
I know it is.
Okay, you know it is. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I mean, Matt Booty was just teasing like they're going to show a bunch of stuff at E3.
Booty time.
That'd be great. I do think that if Microsoft, like, look, you can't really argue against the stretch of the last 2 years of Xbox exclusives, like quality wise. I do think outside of the Forza franchise, it's taken a dip. Like they're not as good as they should be, right? Like the game should be better. Maybe it's just because I don't really care for State of Decay and Sea of Thieves or Halo Wars or whatever. Which Halo Wars was a fine game, but like my expectations for what they're
Halo Wars,
doing for the future. My expectations are extremely high. Like I'm expecting great things out of some of these studios, and if they don't produce, then I'll be out there saying like, hey, like obviously this needs to be rectified. But I look,
You'll be triggered.
I'm glass. I'm at this point. Normally, I'm glass half empty. I'm glass half full at this point. Like I do think the studios that they've purchased will provide great content, and a lot of the memes like Xbox has no games and stuff will fall by the wayside if there's a strong stretch of quality exclusives, because that's all that people want. They just want great games.
So
That's all
what's
that
the next
everyone
what's
wants.
the next thing they'll be criticized for then? They fixed the power gap. No one talks about resolution anymore. If they fix the games, what will people complain about next?
I mean, it'll just be that Xbox games. It'll just be what it is kind of now to a certain degree, that you can get Xbox games on anything else other than Xbox. That you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox games.
That seems like such a weird thing to laugh about. Like, haha, you can play games on any console you want, loser.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I mean, it is true. Like, if you want to play Xbox exclusives, you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox exclusives, and they usually run better on the Windows 10 PC. Of course, if you have the PC that is spec properly, yes. Now, I think if the games come out and are great, then it'll just be like, well, I can play it on Switch or I can play it on PC, which is whatever. Who cares? At that point, if that's the argument, if the argument is I can play these games on something else other than Xbox, and it's not like it's not that the games suck, it's that I would rather play these games somewhere else, then that's fine. Who cares at that point? But the meme now is that there are no games, and the games they do have outside of Forza are horrible, right? So I don't know. Anyways, you know what? Let's take some questions. 'Cause I know it's getting late for you. If you guys have any questions,
It's already over.
huh?
Oh, I'm fun.
Yeah, well,
I didn't even notice the time.
We can keep on having fun. I'm just opening up the floor to some questions for if anybody has anything they want us to talk about. But you know, I appreciate everybody being here on a Friday. Hopefully next week we can be back like regular day on a Wednesday. That's when I would rather do a podcast. But you know, before you all file out of here, if you did enjoy the show, make sure to give it a like, give it a dislike if you hated it. If you don't like me and Des, if you think we're just the worst, make sure you leave a dislike. And if it was your first time watching, I hope you enjoyed it and hit the sub button. So let's get into some questions. Face 23 BKNY always has a question for us as soon as we end the show. He says, "Will Sony make up for not being at E3 2019 with releasing Last of Us 2 during E3 week? Will that be huge in your opinion?" I don't think Last of Us 2 is coming out during E3 week, so I don't think that's realistic. If it did happen, it would be huge. But in my opinion, if Last of Us 2 comes out, you're looking at either September, October, or November, and that's it. And if it's not one of those 3 months, it's next year. Jazz?
Yeah, I mean, do you think Sony will have things to talk about at E3? Do you think then they're not just going to give the whole floor to?
No, they already said they don't have anything planned for at E3 whatsoever.
That's weird.
Well,
I presume they'd have some kind of Sony event, right, later on.
Yeah, I do think there'll be a Sony event. I mean, nothing's confirmed, but I do think there'll be an event where they talk about maybe what's coming at the end of the year, if anything's coming. I mean, who knows? From what I've been told, Sony doesn't even know what their end of the year lineup looks like. You know, I've been told Death Stranding and Last of Us might launch in 2019, but I've been told if they, have some sort of hiccup, then both those games could hit 2020. So I don't know.
I like that. I like that they're willing to wait for quality because so many devs don't. So,
well, that's true. I mean, sometimes you got to push it out the door. Like Anthem, I think Anthem could really benefit for another 6 months in the oven.
Well, this is another thing, right? My colleague Matt, who played Anthem, he said the build he played was way more polished than what we got in the demo. And like BioWare themselves have said that they've got more advanced builds than what they offered in the demo. So hopefully, we won't be in a situation where there's no we won't be in a Fallout 76 situation.
Yes,
Anthem 76. Wow.
So Shady says this is easily tied for my favorite podcast to listen to. I really enjoy Rand and Jez's dynamic together. Thank you, Shady of the Chess Empire. Appreciate that. Libertine Gamer says, Rand, this is pessimistic hyperbole. Those games might be mediocre, but it's not horrible. Just my opinion, dude. I don't really think Sea of Thieves is horrible or State of Decay are horrible. Or, I do think, I expect better from Microsoft. Horrible.
I loved State of Decay. It's one of my favorite games this whole gen, right? But I also was super disappointed with it. Like when I saw it at E3, I was like, oh my god, it's exactly the same as the first one, pretty much. And I was expecting AAA quality, and it wasn't AAA quality. As much as I love the game and I've put like 150 hours into it or something stupid, it's not as good as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It's fine as a fan of Xbox and a fan of Microsoft. It's important that we don't just cheerlead, right? If we just cheerlead and just say, "Yeah, all your games are awesome," when they ain't gonna get better. Well, you have to give them criticism where it's due.
Look at Sea of Thieves right now. Lambasted for reviews for not having content, and a year later, there's content aplenty, and it's seeing a resurgence not only on Twitch but also in their player numbers. They've had more people playing it now than they ever had before, and that's entirely because they supported the game. Now, of course, that's I think the game shouldn't have launched the way it originally launched. And
Should
yeah,
have been early access.
it's great that they're doing everything they can to make it a great experience by adding a great content, and Rare should be happy with what they've built. It's just that it was so barren at launch. And when you review a game, it's like you can only review a game when it's out. Like somebody could re-review Sea of Thieves now and maybe give it a different score. But and I know there's plenty of people like, the Xbox Corp, Zalker87, my buddy. He loves Sea of Thieves. He thinks it's like the greatest thing ever. And I just don't agree whatsoever. Like that's it. That's just my opinion. I respect his opinion. It is what it is. But Shady also wants to know if I'm looking forward to Metro Exodus. Of course, I'd be on that game day one. Chief Nagel wants to know if I'm going to the Halo convention since there's one in Chicago. I actually thought about it, Jez. Did you see the Halo announcement at Inside Xbox?
Yeah, I did. I actually just edited an article that we've got like a Halo lore expert on Windows Central, and he's obsessed with Halo lore, like hardcore obsessed with it, and he thinks that Halo Discovery is going to be full of hints for Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I thought so too, and it is coming here into Chicago, and I'm really thinking about going to it. I'm also really planning on going to E3 this year. Everything aside, I really want to go to E3. It's just one of those things where it's hopefully everything lines up. There's people I want to meet. I didn't meet when I went there. I didn't meet Sam Tolbert of Tick. I want to meet him. I want to go out to dinner with you and Tim Dog and all the guys. I know Mike was saying that he wants me to go, and
I want you to go, man.
I want to go. I love being out there in 2016.
You need to show me. You need to show me like what a good taco is.
A good taco, yeah.
I had tacos in Florida actually.
I do believe E3 fan tickets go on sale next week, by the way. So if you are thinking about going and you want to buy tickets, then that might be the time. Skyro Gaming says 343 is a second team working on something besides Halo, right? They have 500 employees and counting just for Halo, but the Coalition is getting close to 400 and working on 2 games internally. Well, we don't know the Coalition's working on 2 games, and I don't think they're close to 400. Last I was told, or at least looked, I think they were close to 300. I think 343 is just really going to do Halo. I
know about a second Halo project that 343 is working on right now.
Ooh, so they are working on 2, but you think they might be working on 2 projects, but they'll all be Halo related in some way?
They're all Halo. I know that they're working on the Master Chief Collection still, and there's gonna be a very fun Halo Master Chief announcement, Master Chief Collection announcement later this year.
I mean, we already know what it is. It's going to PC. It's not that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I pretty much. I mean, before it was just a rumor, right? But now I know.
What other announcement could it be? It's already on Xbox. It's already in Game Pass. It's already updated to 4K. The only other announcement is it's coming to Windows 10 PC. That wouldn't be shocking. Now, what would be shocking is if it also came to Steam. Then that would be a announcement.
I don't know about.
So I really don't see a scenario where 343 is making a game that's not Halo. Multiple projects, yes. One that's not Halo, I don't see it. I would love for that to happen, but same thing with the Coalition. I don't think they're going to be doing something that's not Gears related. I don't know. Maybe they will in the future. If Microsoft really wants this one AAA game per quarter, I would love for each one of these teams to have studios to have multiple teams to be able to do stuff. Gunstar wants to know, what about getting a guest on every now and then? You guys are respected and could get a good guest on. Phil would do it. As much as I would love to have Phil on here, I doubt Phil would want to come on the Phil is he's a corporate executive now at Microsoft. like the hoops you got to go through we would have to go through to get Phil on here.
We'd have to like sign all these sort of thingies, probably.
I mean, I would love to have Mike on again, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I've thought about interviewing people, but I just don't really know that many people in the industry. But me and Jez have talked about it.
Roby said he'd do it about
Roby.
about Halo.
And he's now at 343, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's the director of player feedback.
Player engagement, yeah. Al Paul says Brad Sams mentioned Jez in his YouTube show. Does Jed and Brad talk, compare notes?
Sometimes. I've been talking to Brad. Brad's a good guy.
You were also gave a shout out by Digital Foundry.
I did. I was like, so squee. He said that. Like, oh my god, he said my name. Senpai noticed me.
Where was my shout out, huh? Because I knew exactly what you were doing too. God.
Well, he didn't write an article about it.
I know, I didn't. But I knew. I knew before Jez knew.
Well, aren't you special?
Yeah, I know. I am special. Sam, he wants to know, do you guys think we'll get any interesting Xbox announcements before E3? Specifically anything to do with xCloud? I've
heard that there's going to be some kind of hardware event before E3. Possibly for Maverick. Now, originally I heard Maverick was going to be announced in January, so God knows what happened there. But now I've heard that it's going to be announced closer to launch, maybe sometime in March or April. And also, I also heard something about a new Xbox controller. Now, that might have been the Sport Red controller that just got revealed, or it could be something else entirely. So there's also that on the radar, but also like possibly a new Surface Book 3 with a gaming focus, because the RTX stuff maybe. So I don't know, but I've heard there is going to be some kind of event before then.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect there to, like, if the Maverick's coming out, that discless Xbox, you don't need to reveal that at E3. That could easily be revealed beforehand. I'm of two minds about xCloud. Part of me thinks that it will be in closed beta to certain people, maybe Xbox insiders, before E3. But then I could also see it being like an E3 thing. Not really sure. I don't really know what their timetable is for xCloud for this year.
I think xCloud will be an E3 thing, because it's going to be such a big part of what they're doing in the future, and investors are going to be watching and all that sort of stuff.
So Sam Tilber says the coalition is at 350 plus now per a presentation they did recently. So they grew a lot. They were at 250 not that long ago.
Well, the coalition is probably working with Splash Damage on Gears Tactics, which, by the way, I'm so hyped for that game, man. I keep hearing great things about Gears Tactics too.
That game is definitely 2020, by the way. Same thing with Battletoads.
You looking forward to Battletoads, Ryan?
No, not at all.
I heard you're a huge Battletoads fan.
No.
I heard like if like you are the guy to talk to about Battletoads.
Am I the guy? Yes, I'm the guy to tell you not to make Battletoads. You know what's funny? After E3, I was playing with Phil. We were playing State of Decay 2, and he was asking me what I thought about E3. And I legit said to him, like, I don't know why you're making new Battletoads. Nobody cares about Battletoads. Why are you doing this? He just started laughing. I'm like, nobody cares about, like...
Dude, you are so wrong about Battletoads.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I told Phil, like...
Rash is one of the most played characters in Kills.
I would applaud if you would announce tomorrow that Battletoads is canceled.
Why? Why do you want a game to be canceled? You're a bad person.
Who cares about Battletoads? It's 2019. Who cares about Battletoads?
It's cool, man.
No, it wasn't even cool back on the NES.
Do you hate Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No, I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Why don't you like Battletoads?
Because it's so dumb.
It's basically the same thing.
So dumb.
You're dumb. That's mean. You know what I think should be cancelled? Splinter Cell. How about that?
It has been cancelled.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and you know what? There's an achievement in the new Far Cry game for finding Sam Fisher's echelon outfit. They're like teasing him in literally every single game. When is the new Splinter Cell actually happening?
Why do you think they cancelled it then?
I had heard they canceled it for that Atlas game, that flying game.
Atlas game.
Yeah, I don't know. Blue Rain says this podcast should be canceled. Okay, we'll cancel it. I mean, there are some. You know what? Everybody's still left in chat. Type of 1 if you care about Battletoads. Type of 2 if you don't care about Battletoads, like me, who would rather see it just stuck in the past where it belongs. So 1 if you enjoy Battletoads and love to see it come back, or 2 if you're smart like me. I want to see how many 1s and 2s we get here, Jez.
So
Okay.
mean. Oh, dude, we forgot about Minecraft Dungeons. That's coming out soon.
Look at this. Look at all these. Look at all these 2s. Look at all these smart people in the chat. Look at all these 2s.
They're just typoing. They mean 1.
Yeah, no, they don't. Who would mean 1? I mean, come on now. Look at
I
all
want
these 2s.
I want Battletoads. I'm curious. I'm Battletoads curious.
But judging from some of the articles, like specifically the Xbox Game Studios one, and then the one from that was looking like Battletoads isn't mentioned at all this year, like for games that are coming out this year. So that definitely is a 2020 game, I think. Same thing with Gears Tech. So like you're gonna get Ori this year. So after Crackdown 3 comes out, it'll be Ori, and my guess, Ori will be out in September. I know a lot of people are like, well, no way, that's too much of a gap. That's when it's coming out. Gears will be October, and that'll be your games for Xbox. Minecraft Dungeons will come out, but it's PC only, so who cares, right?
It's coming to Xbox, of course it is.
Okay, well, they don't say anything about coming to Xbox this year. And then 2020 will be Battletoads. It will be early 2020 Gears Tactics, and then I don't think they'll release anything else until the new hardware launches, where you'll have a launch title smorgasbord of Halo Infinite, Forza Motorsport 8, Ninja Theory's new game, Killer Instinct 2, and whatever else they got lined up.
Oh, did you see that Microsoft people were visiting Iron Galaxy recently?
Oh, were they? I mean, that's who. I mean, they developed, Killer Instinct. So if the Killer Instinct 2's and coming, I would imagine, they'd have to. Stephen King, he says, PS4 guy, how about bringing Scalebound back and never coming back? It's dead. That is a doornail.
I don't get why people want that game, actually.
Steven Sullivan says, press 3 for Banjo and smash Banjo on Switch. I have constantly hear, and I've asked people that know Banjo is coming to Switch. I don't know. Or Banjo's coming to Smash. And I know you said you've heard something similar, Jazz.
I've just heard they are trying to get there is talks to get an Xbox character or Microsoft characters into Smash, but beyond that I don't know. So I'm guessing it's Banjo because that's the one people want.
Yeah. Well, Beats Games Life Zim, he says Ninja Theory's game in 3 years sounds small scale. Well, you got to also keep in mind that they were working on whatever game this is back when Hellblade was in development. So it's not necessarily 3 years. It might have been like 4 years because I think that game might have started development in 2016. It was definitely a game that they were working on when Microsoft acquired them. I mean, Matt Booty even said it recently on Inside Xbox that some of these studios had games already in production, and this will be one of them. It's just like, they bought the studio last year and they're going to have a game ready for 2020. Now, I guess it's possible that game could come out before the new system, but I just think they're just going to backload it and launch everything with the new system. I don't see why they would like, oh, well, here's whatever game it is in May or something, right? I don't know. Scalebound, though. Yeah, people really do get hung up on that game, don't they?
I don't know why, because the gameplay looked alright, but the character was awful.
Yeah, and then there was that rumor that Microsoft was trying to acquire them, Platinum Games. Remember that?
Yeah, I don't know why people want that so much. I mean, they're a good dev, sure, but like, I don't know why them specifically.
Thanero says, "What if they rebrand Scalebound to Crimson Dragon Scalebound?" Lol.
I
Uh,
mean, they don't really care about Crimson Dragon anymore. I don't know. There's
I
a lot
don't.
of I mean, this is one weakness that Microsoft has is that it doesn't really have a huge amount of nostalgia to plug into.
I mean, that is pretty true.
Yeah.
That is pretty true. But anyways, guys, I think that's it for the podcast today. Hope everybody enjoyed it. If you're listening to this later on Google Play or iTunes or SoundCloud, we appreciate you. And if for everybody listening here, all the support, everybody watching live, all the comments, the super chats, me and Jez really appreciate everything. Before you go, make sure you hit that like button. You can always leave a comment below when the video finishes processing. And yeah, Jez, what do you got going on? Windows Central, now that you're back at work instead of soaking up the sun.
I'm working on a Xbox adaptive controller feature, so look out for that maybe next week or the week after. Working on reviews for Metro and Crackdown, although I don't know how I'm going to fit them both in, so we'll see how that
You
goes.
can give me the Metro one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I already used the key. Sorry.
Oh,
That's for me. I'm such a massive Metro fan, man. You don't know how much of a fan I am of that game. So I've got hopes for the sequel. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
oh.
I'm gonna do a showcase of that new Red Sport controller as well. Probably like do a little video so you can see it up close. My fancy camera. But other than that, just
Jesse
chill in.
Darby says that we didn't answer his question.
Oh, what was
He
his
asked
question?
how I and you were doing. I did not see that. We are
Oh, that's
doing pretty
so
good, man.
nice.
I know. I must have just overlooked it. My bad, dude. I try to get to everybody's questions. I
Yeah,
must have just missed it. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. Hope
I'm doing
everybody
great.
else is
Actually.
gonna have a great Friday. So yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Next week, I will have a couple of reviews as well. Currently playing Crackdown 3 and DI Almighty Spartan God. He says I didn't answer his. I didn't see yours, buddy. But yeah, I mean, I know it's hard to look through chat sometimes when you're talking. But yeah, I'm currently reviewing Crackdown 3 and Far Cry New Dawn. So look for stuff on that next week. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you hopefully Wednesday or Thursday next week for the next podcast. Later.